So this is your car.
Yeah, this is my car.
It's nice.
Thank you.
What kind of car is it?
Yeah, it's a 2013 VW CC. It stands for Comfort Coupe.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so nice in here.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, this is a comfort coupe. I'm comfortable.
Okay. Buckle up. Safety first, everyone.
So, when you get in the car,
Mm-hmm.
you turn on music?
Yeah, so it just kind of depends, like, the mood that I'm feeling for the day. Sometimes I'll just, like, put on a Spotify playlist.
Uh-huh.
But if I'm, like, just having, like, a grumpy morning, I'll just click on the radio. I've got classical music playing on NPR.
Ooh, very nice. Again, very comfortable. I'm so comfortable in this comfort coupe.
I'm studying English literature, so that encompasses British literature and American literature, and
Any specific time frame? Or is it just like all of it?
it's basically all of it. The classes are separated into different survey courses that will just kind of like separate the time periods for us, but
Right.
it's basically everything that we have from like the beginning of time that's worth some sort of literary merit that we study all the way through contemporary stuff.
We've had conversations about the curriculum before and how you read a lot of works by men. If you got to pick what you would be reading as an English student, what would it be? Is there anything that you would add to the curriculum?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think it's beneficial, for the curriculum to kind of branch out, and, I would like to see more female authors. I would like to see more female authors of color specifically. I've never read anything by someone of an Asian descent, or, there's just so much diversity that can be covered, and so many universal themes in literature that aren't specific to the American English experience, but that doesn't mean that collectively it's not something that, that we can't all experience. That's not the case. So I don't really think it's one particular thing I would like to see more of on the curriculum, but maybe just more diversity altogether,
Right. Right.
There could be more curriculum on, the gay experience, or, transgendered individuals, or just, when I say diversity, I just mean like an all-encompassing, like anyone from any kind of background, or, gender, or identity, or whatever it may be, they should be able to identify with something on the curriculum, because that's how we relate to literature. We put ourselves in the shoes of other people, and or we recognize a character that is similar to ourselves, and I think that's important for the LGBT community.
So, more from people who are not straight white men. You want to hear more from those people?
Yes. And I mean, so, we talk about the literary canon, and, just the works that are the classic works, and, they're things that we are always going to study. But the canon is basically the opinions of old white men, and that's just because the old white men, they were the only ones who were educated, or properly educated at the time, or they just, in society, their opinions on what was good literature or not, just depended on their own background, and it's not very diverse.
We've talked about this before, but you have like a particular interest in identity issues. And I think specifically you were telling me about ageism the last time that we talked about literature. So
ageism is another ism that we study in literature. Particularly, I'm talking like right now I'm studying a lot of drama, a lot of plays, and the way that the characters are written, they're specifically telling us how old these characters are and the details of what these characters look like. However, when the play is in production and it's being performed, a lot of the times the actors aren't they're not even close to the age of, you know, the characters. And so that puts another dynamic into it. Like, you know, we're skewing the way that these characters are supposed to be perceived, and more importantly, we're skewing the way that the characters' relationships, you know, were intended. In Mother, the recent film with Jennifer Lawrence, she is obviously a lot younger than the male cast. So what is his name? I don't know, I couldn't tell you, but we know Mother. Jennifer Lawrence is in Mother. You can take a look at it, but so, you know, in that movie is, you know, an exploration of like, you know, component of their relationship, you know, and their relationship dynamic. But it also puts that you know, other weirdness to the dynamic, that not only is the relationship kind of, you know, whatever it is, but he's now 40 years older than Jennifer Lawrence, and then it becomes creepier, you know.
Yeah.
It just changes the way that we think about the characters and how it was written.
Yeah.
And its intention, you know. I'm going to show you guys how to take aloe gel out of an aloe plant, and we're going to mix it together and make a little face mask.
Yay!
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
This is gonna be fun.
I just cut it at the base there,
okay.
so you got it here. And then you want to cut the serrated edges off of it, so we'll just cut it down one side, and then
There's yellow stuff coming out of it.
yeah, that's like the preliminary juices before you come out.
It smells so gross. My dad used to put that in the water and drink it every day.
Yeah, it is really gross. And then we want to just like lay it flat after you cut the sides, and kind of just like cut the flesh off of it. And then now that it's open, we see there's like a lot of stuff coming out of it, but you just want to like slice the gel out of there, and it's gonna come off like in a nice, woo, yeah.
Let's make the brightening and tape.
Okay. So we'll just take like half of this aloe gel that we have. I'm gonna plop it into this bowl. Yeah, it's really sticky and gross.
It's good for your hair too.
Yeah. And then
Okay, so
take yeah, these measurements are not exact, just kind of like, you know, eyeball it is always a good rule of thumb. We take a little bit of honey. I'd say maybe like half as much honey as you have aloe gel is probably good. And then we're just going to take like a splash of lemon juice. Lemon juice is good for the skin, like the citrus in it is good for like brightening and stuff, but if you do have acne like I do, I wouldn't recommend putting lemon juice on your open acne. It's probably not going to feel too good, but so we'll just do like a little dash of that. And just going to mix it up here. You can use your fingers because you're going to put it on your face anyway, so you can use your fingers if you want. And it's just going to be like a gooey paste, you know. The basis of it is going to be the aloe. So, and that's what you want. That's the majority of it. Yeah. And we're going to want to do some brown sugar for exfoliation. Maybe just like, I don't know, a knife tip full. I would say it's pretty good. And
it's a good measurement.
Yeah. And you want just a little bit of honey. Not as much honey as you used for the other mask, though. Just a little something to kind of...
A knife tip.
Yeah, just like a small knife tip. And then same thing, use your finger and just kind of mush that all in here. And the idea with the brown sugar one is you like want some of the granules to be present. So if you're mixing it up and you notice that it's not chunky enough, add another knifeful, you know. You want that brown sugar to be in there so it can get in your crevices and just kind of like clean up all your dirt. So yeah, I mean, there you have it. You've got 2 different face masks with 2 different, you know, 2 different goals. Really easy, and it all just came from growing your own little aloe plant.
We got like a nice little table.
Yeah,
It's just sitting on the floor on these like tight cushions.
I wanted to have like a low setting table so that, you know, there could be an area where we can just like chill on the floor, like take your shoes off, just kind of like, just how we are right now, just chilling, you know?
What is like the goal? Like, what do you want to do
Well, so
with your degree?
yeah, I mean, eventually I'd want to go to grad school, and I would
Uh-huh.
want to do a master's program for library sciences. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, hoping to either work for a museum or like maybe like you know, a library that has affiliations with, you know, specific children's reading programs and stuff like that. I mean, I would say in, you know, just in my major in general, there is, you know, and it is kind of funny because most of the majors, well, most of the student in my major, they're female. There's not really many men who are English majors, yet all of the canonical classic works that we're reading are by men. So it does, I mean, you know, finally we're at a place where we can take a classical piece of work, you know, like Hemingway or Fitzgerald, and look at it and say, okay, you know, these guys are geniuses and their writing style is brilliant, and you know, they brought X, Y, and Z to the table, but we can still look at it, analyze it, and say, okay, but it's imperfect because of X, Y, and Z also, you know. And I think a lot of that has to do with, you know, the way that female characters are written, the way that, you know, it just shows like it's a representation of the time period. You know, these pieces we're reading, the way that the women characters behave, it's all a, you know, cultural influence on the writer, where you know, if they write a female character a certain way, you know, it might be conscious or unconscious, but collectively their culture is going to influence the way that, you know, and I can definitely see that, especially in, you know, the treatment of women in literature. But I think as, you know, a career, you know, a lot of English majors want to be writers, and you know, a lot of female writers were told to write or to try and publish their works, you know, either anonymously or to use initials and stuff like that, just because, you know, women weren't getting published. You know, it wasn't until, you know, the romantic era of like these, you know, romance novels and, you know, the ones that have Fabio on the cover of them or whatever, you know, it wasn't until then where people realized that, you know, women do make the majority of, you know, audiences to literature, and, you know, why aren't there more female writers? And we don't really see that change until, you know, the postmodern, like contemporary period. And it's not that the material is not out there. Like, we can find pieces written by females way back when. It's just, you know, one, we're not looking hard enough, and two, it is very scarce, the actual material that's out there. So to try and put them in the curriculum, you know, it takes more effort, but I think it's worth it. Even my professor, a female professor now, she tells us that everything we do has to be twice as good, because they're looking at our work and they're looking at our accomplishments, but they're also starting out at the point, okay, are they male or female? And that kind of skews her judgment, you know, unfortunately, but that's how it works. So
what do you think, to make the playing field more even in the literary world, what would be the steps that we would need to take, do you think?
I think it's just going to take time, honestly. I mean, there's, you know, different, throughout the history of literature, there's, you know, we can classify different waves of feminism, and, you know, where female authors and female critiques of literature, you know, their material was being looked at and actually, you know, being read and analyzed and stuff like that. But I think it's just going to take time for all those old white men to die and for more of us to be a part of it. I mean, really, you know, and that goes to say about a lot of the stuff that, you know, we're still like so stuck in these traditions. And I just think in literature, it really is just going to take time for us to keep evolving, you know. And I think, you know, more people like you and I who are in the, you know, literature field, or, you know, have some sort of say in it, I think it's just good that we, you know, keep on track so that we can help be a part of that, you know. So I think it's going to take time, and I also think it's going to take people who still care about it and who still want to make a difference. When I think of like feminism or like being a woman just in general, like I just think it's like being powerful in the sense that we have power, and just, you know, the perspective that we bring to the world. And I think being a feminist or being a woman just means being powerful and being able to endure a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And how it has shaped me. I mean, I feel like as I grow and evolve, I learn more stuff about what that means to be a feminist, or what it means to be a woman, or other ways that, you know, I can, you know, change my behavior to be more supportive, or, you know, it's just it influences everything that I do. It influences everything,
Yeah.
you know, just because that's my framework of, you know, seeing the world. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
it's everything, you know?